welcome to Twillow Talk. I'm Tanys Coughlan from the Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy. I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Jennifer Jurkofsky. Hey, Jen.
Hello.
And then we have a special guest today, Nadalee Hill. Welcome, Nadalee. So welcome to all of you as well. We have a couple of people joining us already. Welcome, Leah. How are you today? So we have a weather forecast. I do have to share the screen still, though. So I guess I better get to that. Do you want to do the other part, Jen, while I do that? Are you ready for your...
I can do that if you want.
Looks like I'm probably good. Yep, I'm good. All right, so let's look at the weather forecast. So we have had a fairly quiet few days in terms of solar flares, which is interesting, considering we often have huge flares. And then in our KPs, again, very quiet. I think that we had some Schumann resonance spikes over the weekend, but we are right now 15. So everything is quite calm today, as it seems. So that would be where we're at with all of that.
Wow. Okay. I gotta get that on my phone. I've always been wondering when storms are happening, because I can feel really tired sometimes when they hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that it certainly goes with it, right? When we have those weather things, we certainly feel it. Mm-hmm. What were you going to say, Jen?
Yeah, I was just saying it's nice to know. It's nice to know that it's collective and it's not just us.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Kaylee joining us. She's work lurking. Hello.
Kaylee. All right. So transits, and then we can get to Leah's question there.
Absolutely.
Okay, so gate 20 is the gate that we are in right now. This one we're going to be in just for 2 more days. So it's going to transition from the 27th, and then we'll be into the next one. So I'll just go over this one briefly. This gate moves us from the shadow of superficiality into the siddhi, or the enlightened state of presence, through the gift of self-assurance. So we talked about that a little bit last week, and this is the energy that is helping us to dive a little deeper, right? To figure out what it is that we want, what we want to bring forward in our experience. So the superficiality, that shadow energy, is the disconnection from depth. And that's when we live on autopilot. And we're like, I'll just do it later. I don't have to deal with it right now, right? And we believe that we're engaged with life, but really there's this disconnection that comes from not fully inhabiting the moment, not really being in that presence. And so as we move through the energy, the gift of this, that self-assurance, comes in when we have the stability of presence, because self-assurance is able to emerge when we're in a grounded place, which only happens really in our immediate experience. And so with that self-assurance, it can feel like a calm presence under pressure. We might be able to be a little bit more clear and respond actually sooner, because we're not caught up in all of the mental clutter that happens, that causes us to really sit in that reactivity. And we're able to trust in the moment more. And so for the next couple days, some of the reflection energy to go with that is, where do I mentally leave the present moment? What brings me back into the present moment? How can I embody awareness? And where can I slow down to meet this moment more fully? The affirmation that goes with that for the next 2 days: I return to the present moment. I trust the clarity of now. In presence, life reveals itself completely. And then from that energy, we're moving into the gate 16. And the gate 16 moves us from the shadow of indifference to the siddhi of mastery through the gift of versatility. So again, you can see the energies and how they kind of build on each other. When we're in that place of superficiality and we're keeping everything on the surface, it's really easy to then shift into indifference. Whereas if we're in a place of self-assurance and we're more present, we have the ability to be a little bit more versatile and we can bring mastery to our experience. So with the shadow of indifference, if you find yourself going, ugh, what's right, disconnecting because you don't understand the potential or you feel like there's just a lack of engagement, just notice, because if you're believing that the effort doesn't matter, that's where the stagnation happens, because we stop participating in our own experience. The gift of that versatility energy, is going to help us to really embrace the learning of living in the process and being able to recognize the frequencies and shifts and all the things that happen when we're in that fluid, creative, and adaptable mentality. So this is going to be giving us enthusiasm for learning, and open and curious. I say that all the time. That creative flexibility, and just allowing ourselves to experiment more with what's possible. So some reflections for this energy. Where have I become disconnected from my potential? Right? What gifts or skills want deeper cultivation, want my attention, want me to really dive into? And maybe even asking, how does comparison affect my willingness to practice? Right? If I'm comparing myself, I can't do that. We cut ourselves off. So just notice if that energy is coming up for you so that you can shift into joyful engagement, which, again, what does joyful engagement feel like in the body? Really embodying the energy of that to move it forward. So the affirmation for the rest of the week is, I devote myself to the unfolding of my gifts. I allow practice and presence to refine my expression, and through joyful participation, mastery and release. That's the energy leading us through the week.
There's something going on with your sound, I think, Jen, unless it's mine.
I don't know. Nadalee, were you able to hear me? I saw your mouth moving, but I didn't hear you.
I heard most of what you were saying, but your mic was just kind of getting in and out, like a little muffled, and like it was skipping some words. But we got the message. We got
the majority of it. There was just a bit at the end there where I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, it got worse towards the end. It's weird.
Well, what I'll do is I'll put the affirmations in, because the affirmations were what I was saying at the end there. So
yeah, it seems okay right now. So
yeah, that was weird. Yeah, it was like the energy was building up or something, and it just muffled it. That's weird.
Yeah.
All
right. So watch the chat there for that. For the affirmations, it's coming. And Leah says, it seems like we must cross the bridge and can't take it with. If it doesn't fit, choice is our gift. Yes, we have free will. She has this question here, which is interesting. She's waiting for a Zoom Akash reading. What should I not ask, please? That's an interesting question. I don't know that there's anything you should not ask. All of it is discovery. Oh, and Jen just left. So all of it's discovery. She's probably having some interference problems there. There we go.
I went to press enter and it popped me out of the studio. So I was about to give you guys the affirmation, and then
that was wild.
I do not want you having the affirmations.
Apparently not. Yeah.
Apparently they're going to be powerful. So use them once I get them to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Any thoughts on this, Jen? The waiting for the Akash reading?
Oh,
I was saying it's just
what not to ask.
Yeah, like I'm feeling like it's all self-discovery. I think it depends on what your willingness is to delve deep into that.
Yeah, just don't ask something that you're not prepared to know.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. It's interesting with the Akashic records, because every reader also sees through their own lens, so their interpretations are their own. So I would say making sure that whatever you ask is not definitive, right? Ask for the
Yeah.
interpretation, but then still put it through your own understanding in order to see what resonates for you. So as you're asking, really like, like you were both saying, you don't ask things that you're not necessarily ready to hear, but also don't assume that the answer that you're getting is the definitive of what it is. Like really feel into it and see what resonates for you.
Yeah, I think for me, when I've had those two, the other aspect of that is feeling it in your body. Because if it feels true in the body, that's where you would still run it through your own filter, like Jen said, but you're going to have a little bit more, like your body will give you cues about what to think about it, and where you want to go with that. So. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. I thought this was an interesting. Why are we? There we go. How special it is being with you, AI, and she meant to say all. I questioned that. I'm like, AI. What? Wait, we're live. We're not AI.
We're not. No, I'm even in my holy, sweater that's super comfy and has holes all
live
over.
Live and real. Live and real. That's what we do.
Live and real. So
here's one for you, Nadalee.
Aw.
Oh,
Very
thank
nice.
you. That's so sweet of you.
Why don't we have you share about yourself?
Yes, please.
Let us know who you are.
Yes, thank you for having me today. Okay, I don't really know where to start, honestly. Hello. I am a contactee of the non-human intelligent kind, and an abductee, as some people call us. And I have had many, many experiences on the ships. I've seen the beings in person, in my room, on the ships, in my consciousness, all of the above. And I've been having a lot of stuff happen in the past few days. I'm just trying to wrap my head around, honestly. And I'm just trying to swim through the waters and figure out where I'm at right now, because I'm in a weird place because they did some brain upgrades on me. And I've been having a lot of astral traveling and fixing the timelines.
Nice.
I've never thought I would say such a thing, but it's really weird. So it also goes into what she was telling me during my abduction as well when I was on the ship. So, but yeah, I work for the Federation. I created the United Experiences Initiative through their guidance, and this is the symbol for the UEI, United Experiencers Initiative. And the United Experiencers Initiative is essentially a nonprofit for experiencers to have the backbone, the strength, and the courage to come out to speak about your experiences, because we are disclosure, and we're also more than disclosure. We are change, because we have a lot of stuff to bring to the table and a lot of messages to give to humanity from the extraterrestrials, which is to love yourself, love others, and know that everything is connected and everything is one, and the planet is alive and she needs our help. So those are the main messages. But we're going to be doing so much more for humanity, teaching people how to make contact with extraterrestrials in different groups around the world, in different chapters, different states. And then once we get hundreds of thousands of people ready for contact, doing meditations all at the same time, calling them down and getting people ready for contact, the more closer we will be for global contact all at once. So that will usher in a new age of humanity where we can join the Federation and the galactic community at large. So those are some of the things that we're going to be doing through the UEI. Anybody can join us. We're looking for so many people, whether you want to be a board member or just an active member in the community, but we're looking for so many people out there. So I can share a few of my experiences if you'd like.
Mm-hmm. Sure, please.
Let me get some water real quick. So I want to share my latest experience because this is so fresh on my mind. And I do have some images I want to share. And yes, they are AI. Forgive me.
Sometimes it's difficult to capture that stuff because it's not physical, right?
And boy, did it capture the image. Oh my gosh, so
Mhm.
much. I'll explain here in a minute. So let me go ahead and bring up the first picture because it kind of just
Mhm.
jumps right in. One moment. All right. Let's see if this will work. Okay, I'm trying to share an image.
Mhm.
Okay, there it goes.
Mhm.
So as you can see, there's gray hands above my head. So what had happened in the middle of the night, I was just there. Anytime I'm on this particular kind of craft, I just am there. And it's just, I was laying there on this table and you can kind of see the outline. It kind of looks like the floor. Everything's the same texture. It's all organic. And I was just laying there on the table, and there were grays behind my head inserting the, as you can see in the image, these green rods into my head. And I could like almost know and see them in my mind, what they're doing back there. And I did a regression to 2 as well. So I kind of saw it in a third person as well. And then it felt really like uncomfortable, like they were doing something inside my brain. And then this woman comes around. I've met this woman before in 2024 during my other abduction experience, and she is I know now that she's a Lyran being, but she come around my left side and she was staring down at me, and she locked gaze with me, locked eyes with me, and she kept me in this trance, and she kept me really relaxed and really calm. And then she started telling me about the upgrades that they were doing to me, saying that I'm going to be able to help fix the timelines. And I was a little confused about that. I didn't understand what she was talking about. And then I just started getting flashes of all kinds of stuff in my brain. And then she gave me a vision of thousands of flying saucers in the sky. And it was about worldwide contact and something to do with like me helping fix the timeline with other people. It's going to usher in worldwide contact eventually. So something like that. It's really hard to like piece it all together in my brain. I might do another regression later. But anyway, as they're doing the procedure and she's telling me all this, she gets quiet, and then they like get done, and then I kind of like sit up on the table, and they looked surprised. They didn't expect that. But before I continue, let me bring up the other picture of the female. I kind of skipped over that. Now I can't look at this image too long because it gives me like body reactions. I just made this image today. It makes me clammy, and I just a lot of stuff to work through. I don't know. It's not bad. It's just a lot of energy and a lot of emotions. But she was the one looking down at me, and she's got red poofy curly hair, as you can see, and she's a Lyran being. Um, so yeah, I sat up on the table, and thank you.
Mhm.
I sat up on the table, and I kind of slipped off the table like I was gaining consciousness and movement. And they didn't expect all this. Like whatever upgrades they were doing, it was upgrading me to the point where I can break their gaze, their control over me, of like being still on the table. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm free. I'm moving around. So I got excited and just started running. And I was like fumbling everywhere. And I remember the walls were so wet and gooey. And it was kind of cold. And I was kind of fumbling everywhere, running down this hallway. And I didn't get about like 30 feet away. But I was like looking in different rooms. And there were other people on these beds, organic beds like I was on, and they were doing procedures to them to help them upgrade and stuff. And then I got to the end of the hall, and I almost ran into this being. I stopped, very tall, probably about 6-7 feet tall, mantis being, and he was black. I never seen a black mantis being before, but he was black, and he was almost blending in with the darkness. It was really low light on the ship, and he's very bulky, like he was very wide, broad shoulders. And I just kind of like look at him. I'm really like foggy, and I'm really dazed still from the procedure. And I look up at him, and I lock eyes with him, big old black eyes. big old round, like huge eyes. And he puts me in a trance, and I just kind of like lock onto him, and he like gets control over my mind, and I just kind of get really sleepy. And then I kind of go towards the ground and like lean down on my hands. And then I kind of look up and I see another being coming. He's got like a big nose. It looks like a Squidward type nose, but bigger. And he's like red skin, like a brownish red, kind of wet looking skin, and big red eyes, almost like fish eyes. And he scoops me up, and then I pass out. And that's the whole experience. So, yeah, it's a lot to take in. It was a lot. So when I got off the table, I felt like a cat that got away from the vet. That's the way I explain it. And they were trying to wrangle me up, but I'm such a troublemaker, I guess. But since then, since the upgrades, I am the following days after, I was getting headaches, like in the spots that they put the rods in my brain. It was bisymmetrical, here and here and back here and here. I was getting headaches, and they were residing as the days went on. About 3 days, the headaches went away, and then as the headaches were going away, my brain was also getting amplified. Like I can I can hear people's thoughts even more now. I can think faster. I can astral travel apparently now and help fix timelines. So there's a lot going on in my life now. I mean, there's always something going on, but it's a lot lately. So, any questions? I think you're muted.
I sneezed. So how did all of this start for you? You don't want to hear that. So.
No, you're good. So my story is a little complicated when we start talking about origins, because going back, I did a regression, and the first time I was taken, I didn't realize I was taken when I was 2 years old. And that's when they told me, and they poured information into my soul or something in my chest. But they told me that I was here to help humanity, and they're proud of me, and they're very thankful for the sacrifices that I'm doing. So that was like my first experience. And then when I was around 13, I astral traveled, or actually it wasn't astral traveling, it was literally out of body. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of the night, I left my body fully conscious, everything. And I flew through my roof and into the mountains up north somewhere. And I remember the mountains being gray with a white snow cap on top. And I went into the mountains, and I saw a bunch of different, very tall grays, but they were pale white, very tall. And they didn't seem really nice, but they were all surrounding a glass box container. And it had a girl in it, probably around 9 years old. And she had black hair. I'll never forget it. She had black hair to her shoulders, and she was wearing a nightgown, and she was banging on the glass and crying, and she wanted to go home. And it was just very intense. And then the beings saw me, they felt me, and they looked at me, and they knew my consciousness was there, and they pushed me out, and I woke up in my body. And this is when I was 13, and to my knowledge at that time, I had no other prior experience. So I'm like, whoa. So my mom was like, oh, it's just a dream. And after a while, I just kind of like let it go. And I was like, that was just a weird experience. But now looking back, it's like, yeah, it's all part of the whole story of my life. But I remember when I was a child, I would look up in the skies all the time and look for UFOs. And I didn't even know what I was looking for, honestly. I just knew I was looking for UFOs, and like I didn't even know what a UFO was. I was just looking for them. And it's like I knew in my heart, but my brain didn't understand. Now I completely understand. They're all family. They're my family. And I can't wait to go back home with them. But one thing that I've learned is that home is in your heart. If you don't feel like you're home here, that means you're not at home in here. Home goes anywhere you are. So for you to feel at home, you need to work on yourself on the inside. So, but I still would love to go back and hang out in the Federation and stuff. But I feel, in my heart, I feel at home everywhere. But sometimes it is tough to be around people who don't want to hear about my experiences or what I have to say or what I have to teach. And there's just people that don't even see me because I'm just on a different vibration and they just don't hear the words coming out of my mouth. Sometimes it does feel lonely. So I kind of get lost in that sometimes, but I am out in the country. So,
Yeah, you doing okay? I feel like we're stirring up some stuff for you today. I'm an empath, so I feel stuff. So
yeah, I've been having a lot of stuff going on with my emotions. So like building up to the last abduction, I believe they made me cry. They made me purge because it had something to do with the procedures that they did. So it's a chemical that releases in your brain that makes your brain more malleable. So they triggered that and they wanted me to like detox and cry. And then what was funny is because I asked them to take me the night before and then they took me. So I think it was all planned out, but I'm still kind of like processing everything and my emotions, especially with that woman, that image I showed earlier. It's like I can't look at that image too long and I just get really clammy and
there's something with that for sure. If you're having a physical reaction, then there's definitely something there. Now, have you had like these experiences sound uncomfortable or like not? Have you had good experiences? Because I from my experience, my first interaction with them was that they did come and do some healing on me. I had been having a pain in my breast and I had gone to the doctor and I was waiting to go for a mammogram. And one night I woke up feeling like I had a vacuum on my chest.
Oh my God.
And I woke up and there was an ET standing beside me who I now know as Ragus. He's my Arcturian guide. And I was up, I was awake. He looked shocked to see me. I was shocked to see him and I went right back to sleep. And I never had pain there again. And there was nothing on the mammogram.
That's amazing.
And so for me, it's always been very friendly. And, I've had experiences where I had a delegation of praying mantis come to the backyard. And it was a little intimidating because they were very tall, but they were very, very, very diplomatic, I'll say. They were very like, may we speak with you, please? And I'm like, yes, okay. And they said like, we understand you are a galactic ambassador. And I said, yes, apparently so. Because I work with the Federation as well as you. And of course, we work with the Alliance for Extraterrestrial Diplomatic Contact too. So Jen and I are both involved with both of those. And so he asked me to please pass on the message that not all insectoids are nefarious. And I was like, okay. Because he was tall. So I'm like, okay. And then he toddled off. He thanked me and toddled off to the back of the yard where there were 5 more standing in the corner of my yard.
Wow.
And they were not physical, right? They were in the higher frequency. And so it was more the energy signatures that I was able to see and that sort of thing. I was seeing what he looked like. But I had been teaching a channeling class in the sunroom at the time. And so I went back in and one of the women that was in the class was visual. And I said, do you see anything out there? And she's like, well, I can't see detail, but I do see 6 kind of energy signatures.
No
and I was
way.
like, okay, cool.
Wow. Confirmation. I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So for me, it has not been the same experience as what you've had. I mean, I'm sure that I have been taken to the tables and stuff. I know I go to the med beds. For healing and stuff, but I don't have the same kind of memories that you have in terms of the ETs.
So most of my experiences, all of them are positive. Even this last one was technically positive. I just caused a little trouble getting off the table, but no, the upgrades were just to help do my job. So it was nothing really nefarious. But I just have a lot of emotions with this woman. I don't know why or what it is. It's nothing bad. It's just a lot a lot for my brain to be able to process. And I think that's why she blurred her face out so much when in my memories. But no, it was all to help. And I've only had positive experiences myself as well. So there was one incident where it seemed like a negative experience, and it was on the same kind of ship. I now know that it was the same kind of ship, but at the time, so I'll just explain this encounter if you'd like. This is one that I usually don't talk about because it causes a reaction in some people, but just to let you know, there is a positive outcome. So just hang in there. Yep. So in the middle of the night, I started vibrating. I woke up and my body was vibrating, and I started lifting up out of my bed about 3 inches. And then I just like blacked out. And then I wake up floating in this dark room. I now know that this is an organic ship, but at the time, and the memories that I still have of it are dark, but I know it was the same ship from last time. But anyway, I was floating in this dark room, and I can't see anything but like a light coming down, and I'm literally floating in a force field, and I can't move, and I'm about 30 degrees like this in the air. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I didn't see anybody, but I sensed some grays nearby. And this robot arm, I call it robot arm, but it's like a Gumby Tootsie Roll giant organic arm comes down from the ceiling, and it's like this shape, like a rounded rectangle shape, but extruded down from the ceiling, and then it bends like an elbow, and then it stops at my chest, about a foot and a half away. And then I was like, what is this? What is going on? And then they started shooting tubes into my chest, like a bunch of tubes. Now, the arm was like a mustard brown color, and the tubes are like a light tan color, and they had ribs. They were like ribbed, and it like shot into my chest, and I was like screaming bloody murder because it hurt. They started sucking my lungs, and I was just like, oh my God, stop. I was screaming, stop. And then I black out. And then I wake up in my bed, and I just started screaming like I was still there. And it was just like, whoa, what was that? But when I had calmed down, I had realized that I could breathe more. I can like take in more air. And I was like, wow, what is this about? So I was a little confused. And then, as abductee that has a day job, I have to go to work after these experiences. So I'm going to work, right? And I'm like just trying to process everything. And I get to my area where I work at the time, and I was like, man, I can't breathe. I was like, it's just very intense. And turns out there was an exhaust leak where they test the lawnmowers, and the exhaust wasn't being sucked out properly. And there was a lot of dust in the air as well, and I was not sensitive to it then, but I was after the procedure because they cleared my lungs, and then I heard them telepathically. They said, yeah, you have to wear a mask now, and we cleared your lungs. You need to take care of your body. So anytime I breathe a little bit of exhaust going behind a car or in town, like I can't breathe a lot of gas or anything unpure oxygen. So they literally cleared my lungs, and they forced me to be healthy. So.
Yeah, that can happen, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember having an experience where and again, there's so many times where I've said to them, like, you know how to keep me asleep. Like, stop letting me wake up, because I don't need to be a part of the details. Like, just tell me what happened after the fact. Because there are times where they go in ways that are not comfortable, whether it's like, probe straight in or some other places. And I remember one time, like I woke up and I was laying on my stomach, and it hurt, and I could feel like that there was like something wrapped around, and I was like, okay, what is happening? And they just said, we're working on your dantian. We're reinforcing the life force energy. And it was at a point of time in my life where everything was sick. Like no part of me felt good. And I don't know like if it was just a culmination of things or what was happening, but like I was in shutdown. And they're like, we're just working on that to rejuvenate that. This isn't time for you to shut down. Just let it happen. And then they knocked me back out again. And I got up the next day and I felt great.
Yeah.
And I felt great for a long time after, and I still feel good. I just don't like it's, the world just keeps on, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Just leveled out.
I gotta do this stuff again. Do not let me wake up. I just don't want to wake. I want the effects for after. I want to feel good after it's done, but I don't want to feel what's happening while it's happening.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm pretty sure they do that to me, but I don't wake up. I guess, with the first initial thing with Ragus, I think they learned that it was shocking for me and decided they didn't want to put me through that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think the problem is we both wake up and we're like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Stop, knock it off. But we're not like in that space of like freak out so much anymore.
Getting off the table and running
handle
around.
it if you wake up.
Yeah. Yeah, a wild feral kitten.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
We should say hello here to Sun Dragons.
Oh, hello.
Hello, welcome.
Hello out there.
And Leah had to go. She will be back. She's going to watch the playback. And we have Hypnocity, I think, that joined us here somewhere. Yes. Hi, Nadalee.
Welcome, Nadalee.
Welcome.
Yeah, so if you guys have any experiences to share or any questions about experiences, this is a great time to ask or share them.
Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah, you are all in familiar company. We're in familiar company. Apparently, maybe all three of us are ambassadors now.
We are. Yeah.
So, yeah, I just kind of like feel official with the UEI symbol. Now, the funny thing about this symbol, they actually gave it to me. So I have a whole story. It'd take forever to tell everything. But after, I believe, I'm trying to remember the consecutive order of things. I think the woman that I showed earlier, she gave me a questionnaire on the ship to see if I was ready for the next part in my mission, which was to start the UEI. But I think what had happened is they give me the symbol first. So one night I had the feeling to sit down in front of the computer, and it's like I was feeling them speak to me, and they were like, open up Photoshop. So I was like, I opened up Photoshop, and they were like, we're going to make a symbol, and it's important. And I was like, okay, cool. We're making a symbol, whatever that means, So I make the symbol, and I said, okay, what's it for? And they're like, it's for disclosure. And I'm like, cool. Like, what does that mean? Like, can you elaborate? And they're like, no, all you need to know is it's for disclosure. And so I get all
excited. I love how descriptive they are with all the details.
They're always like that.
Yeah, they're very. The way they told me is like you're supposed to know what you're supposed to know when you're supposed to know it, like only.
Yeah.
So they couldn't tell me that it was for an organization. I would have been like, what? I'm not a CEO. I can't do all this. I would have got anxiety, So they were just kind of giving me little breadcrumbs and kind of building me up to it. So they gave me the symbol, and they said it's for disclosure, and I got all excited, and I put it on a flag, and like I put it everywhere. And then later, I had the feeling to create the nonprofit. Me and a couple other people, and I was the one who went through with it to make it. And then I was like, what symbol should I use for this? And I'm like, wait a minute. That's the symbol, because literally that's what the organization is about. It's about disclosure. And I'm like, oh my God, it makes so much sense. So I was really excited, and I ordered a bunch of business cards. And then later, they give me the vision of like I was in the desert. I was asleep, and I was in the desert, and I saw a plane flying overhead, and it said, have you been to the desert lately? Like a banner, pulling a banner. It had coordinates behind it, but I couldn't remember the coordinates. But I think the coordinates were representing like this is an actual place that we need to be, that we're inviting you to. So I woke up, and I was like, what was that? Right? That was like important. So I logged that away. And then about a month, 2 months later, I saw an ad, and it was for contact in the desert. And I was like, oh my God, that's it. The desert. I got to go to the desert. And I felt them in my mind and my heart light up, and they got excited. And I was like, yeah, but how do I get there? Right? I'm poor. So I had to figure it out. And It's a whole story. We can get into it if you like. I don't know how much time we have left.
Yeah, we have 20,
Yes,
so 15 minutes. Mhm.
How'd you get to the desert?
So, okay.
Welcome, Zach, before we get started.
Yes.
He likes your tiara.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. It's actually handmade. I've had it for like 2 years now, and I believe it's not copper. I wish it was copper, but I think it's brass. But anyway, okay, where do I start? So I'm like, okay, how do I get to California? And mind you, I've never traveled that far in my life. I never had a vacation by myself as an adult. It was a lot of first things for me all at once. But 2 weeks before I get on the plane, my wallet was stolen out of my car, apparently at the gas station, and I didn't realize it till I got home because some guy called me and was like, "Hey, your stuff's scattered all over the highway," and I'm like, "What?" And I look in my purse, and it's not in my purse, and I'm like freaking out. And so my social security card, my ID, everything's just gone, right? And I'm like, "How am I going to get on this plane? Oh my gosh, I don't have an ID." And I go apply to get an ID, and they're like, "This isn't going to get you on the plane." I'm like, "Oh my god, don't tell me that." I've already like booked the hotel and bought the tickets for the contact in the desert. But so I got the paper, and I started gathering so much mail, like so much documentation of who I am, and like a whole pack. I still have a stack of papers in here. um, so 1 week before I get on the plane, so the president signs a bill saying that you have to have a real ID to travel. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. How am I going to get on this plane? This is like, and I'm like breaking out. It's like stressing me out so much. And it's so, what was weird about it though is the day before I get on the plane, my work offers me voluntary leave, or VL as they call it. And that kind of VL, where they offer individuals VL, is very rare. First of all, they have to go down a list. You have to be that person on that particular day, and there has to be extra people at work. So the amount of things that had to line up for me to get that is like winning the lottery, especially the day before my trip. So I'm like, the day before my trip, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take VL. Thank you so much. So I go to the car, and I'm sitting there, and then I heard them in my mind and my heart, and they said, go to the DMV and apply for your real ID, because I had done it because I didn't think it was going to do anything. So I go to the DMV, and I get a piece of paper, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if this is going to work, right? But I'm trusting them. I got to have faith. You have to have faith in these kind of things when they're guiding you.
Mm-hmm.
So once I get back to the car, they said, okay, now go to the courthouse and get your name change document. And I was like, okay, that's a weird request, but okay. So I go to the courthouse and I get it, and I'm trusting them and trusting everything. So the next when I leave early in the morning and I go to the airport, and at this point I've given up hope, right? I'm just like, I'm not getting on this plane. These humans are not going to let me on this plane. So I get to TSA. Before I get to TSA, I had the important documents, the papers that I just got, and my birth certificate and stuff in a separate baggie. And all the other documents were in a big binder folder. And the big binder folder I put in my suitcase, and I didn't mean to, so it went under the plane. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have all my documents. But I had the envelope with the important papers still. So I was like, okay, hopefully this will help. So I get to TSA, and they call up the people, and they ask me a bunch of questions, and then he hangs up. And then they're like, you're through, you're good. And I was like, oh my God, I could like breathe, and like, this is happening. It really started settling in. But the funny part is that he said that he said that they usually don't answer that fast. And I probably would have been late for the plane and missed my flight. So that was another weird one. Like, it was all these weird things going on that they literally helped me get to California to promote the United Experiencers Initiative. So I can't thank them enough. But the story goes on a little bit further. I I get to California, I meet amazing people, I make amazing connections that have helped the UEI so much. If it wasn't for that trip, the UEI would be like, everybody would be like, who's the UEI? What's the UEI? You know? But the people that I met in California, it's like helped so much. I was told that I was going to meet a particular person there. I thought it was Yvonne Smith, but it turns out it was someone else. I don't know if I should say their name publicly yet. I'll have to ask him later. But anyway, it's someone important in disclosure, and he's been helping us out so much behind the scenes and connecting me with a lot of other important people and getting seen. Because of him, I literally had a documentary made of my life, like a little tiny documentary video. But it's just bloomed. It's like one thing after another, everything connected. But while I was in California, I met 2 Pleiadians in person. Have you heard about this yet?
No.
Okay. So I was standing about 10 feet away from Chris Bledsoe's booth. I had just got done talking to him, and there was these 2 women that were standing in front of his table, probably about 5 feet away. And I noticed them, and they're like wearing black velvet and like black pants. And I'm like, that's odd. And it was like long sleeve as well, all the way, the whole body, like bodysuit almost. And that's very weird. It's California and it's very hot. So I walked up to him and to like network and give him cards and stuff. And then she looks at me. Then the other one like leans over because we're like aligned up like Orion's belt. And I'm like, facing them, and the other one's like leaning down over. And she looks at me, and I'm like, oh my God, they look like Pleiadians. And then out of nowhere, that thought just went, it just left my mind completely. And then I was just like back to normal. And I didn't realize this until later, but I was like, oh yeah, here's a card, and talking about the organization and everything. But as I was talking, all they were doing was just like shaking
I do.
Yeah.
They weren't weird at all. Just spoke with their eyes, like they were just like.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, that was weird. They didn't speak a word. So, but as I walked away, they kept staring at me very oddly, and they were just like smiling, and it felt like appreciation energy. And I was like, okay, that's wild. That's weird. And I still didn't have it in my brain that they were Pleiadians. It was like they were blocking it because I had a job to do. But then when I got on the plane and got home, all the way home back to Tennessee, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh my God, those are Pleiadians. And I literally gave the business cards to Pleiadians. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
It is.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure they were thrilled to get them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep,
Work
she's
the
doing her
meaning of
job.
it,
She's
right?
doing what we asked her to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
They probably have them up on the ship still on their wall or something. I don't know.
As a reminder of their experience on Earth.
Yeah, it's like a souvenir.
Remember when we talked to that girl?
Mhm. Yeah. They're like, yeah, she's doing her job, guys. She did good. We got one of the cards.
Mm-hmm.
But no, when I got on the plane, rewinding a little bit, I was sitting there on the plane about 6 minutes in. I had this feeling to look out, like they were telling me to look out the window. So I'll look out the window, and it took me a minute to realize what I was looking at. And it was a white cigar-shaped craft, literally about 300 feet away from the plane. And it was just floating there over these windmills. And I'm like, what is that? What is going on here? And I was like, oh my God, that's a craft. I was like, oh my God. Then I whipped my phone out, and I just start taking pictures instead of a video for some reason. I just like picture. So I have a whole series of pictures of that. But yeah, it was wild. It was probably about 6-7 feet long, maybe 8 feet long, and about 2-3 feet wide. And it was kind of flatter, like a flat cigar shape. And it kind of was just floating there I think it was traveling away from the plane slightly. It just kind of went out of view, and I was just like glued to the window, and I was like, "Oh, don't go!" And then I'm just like hyped up, and this woman was sitting next to me, and I look over at her. I said, "I just saw a UFO." I didn't want to tell the whole plane and have them like lock me up, you know. But I was like, "I just saw a UFO," and she was like, "Okay, cool." Like it didn't even faze her, and she was just like listening to her music, and I even showed her a picture, and she was like, "Okay, cool," and I'm like, "What?" Oh my god! These people are like on a whole nother wavelength, like a different vibration or something. It's like they don't realize what I'm showing them or something. I don't understand.
It wasn't going in.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't go in, you know, no matter what we say, it's not going to. So it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, it's like living in a whole different dimension. It's wild. But on the way home, I actually saw 2 more crafts in the distance. One was a black craft, and it looked like a disc in the distance. And I get video of that one. And there was another one that was white. It was like a little white metallic looking object over the desert floating there. And I got a video of that one as well. And both times I had the urge to look out like they were. And what I gathered was it was a send off. Like they were telling me I did a good job, and they were just kind of like giving me a salute or whatever. And I was like, yay, thanks. Definitely something to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my California trip.
That's awesome. I love it when those synchronicities happen and they make sure you are where you need to be. Yeah. You know, there's always those things that come up for many of us, you know, that are experiences. Jen and I always joke, we just do what we're told.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how we go through life, because it's magical when they open those doors like that.
Absolutely. You know? Also forgot to mention one thing. So when I got to California, the first hotel was not the actual hotel where they had the event. So when I got there, she said, I didn't have an ID still. I'm traveling with paperwork at this point, right? And she's like, I can't let you in the hotel because you don't have an ID. And I'm like, oh my God, and I'm going to be like on the streets and stuff. And she was like, but I'll let it slide. And I was like, it was almost like, I don't know, something got in her mind. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but she was like, I'll let it slide, but don't tell my boss. And I'm like, wow.
When you said that, I had a vision of I think it was Pleiadian behind her, kind of doing one of these, you know.
It's so funny because that's what I was thinking was the Force. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. It was like that kind of, you will let her pass.
That's actually a real thing. Yeah, that's a real thing that they can do. And I've actually done that, and non-nefarious ways, of course. I practice that on humans sometimes, but it's not as good as what they do. But it was only for their own good and stuff, to help themselves and not get hurt and stuff. But
yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I never assert my power, my abilities over anyone like that in a bad way. So, and I never really spy on anyone, not intentionally. I had an experience last night.
I love that. Not intentionally.
Well, we end up where we don't intend to be.
Yeah, there is that for sure.
Because if like you tell me someone's name or tell them something, and it's like I just start thinking immediately where they're at, and I can visualize and remote view them, and I'm like, I have to like suck it in, like pull it back in. Yeah. I'm still learning how to control that, and now with these new upgrades, it's like I gotta tune it some more, because it's like I'm casting a wide net now, and I'm picking up a lot of stuff. But we did a guided meditation last night during TikTok Live, and I guided people to make contact. And I don't really do those too often. I need to start doing them more. And she was like freaking out in a good way. She was like, there's orbs in my yard and they're so bright. And I'm like, oh my God, come up on the live and talk. And she was like crying and like so like emotional. And she said she's never seen them that close and that bright before, and they were like changing colors, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I helped guide her through that meditation, and they literally came. But she had seen them before in her life, but she hadn't seen them in a very long time. And then I was guided to give her a message, and I knew stuff about her life, and that was just like everything was just channeling. But I did some healing on her as well, and she felt great, and she felt like she could jump around, and I could feel that as she was wanting to jump around. It was just like I'm connecting to people and helping people in miraculous ways that I've never thought I would be able to. But they did tell me a while back that I'm going to start doing more extraordinary things that people are going to start paying attention to, and that I need to like fine tune my abilities and just kind of go with the flow and don't question it too much. Just kind of, let it flow. Let the force flow through you, so be one with the force.
That's the hard part, right? Not questioning it. And
Yeah.
we both have shared experiences where it's like they'll tell us something. Are you sure? Is that really what you mean? That's actually what you want me to do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm teaching, and I'll be like, "What? What are you saying to me?" That happened to me the other day, and they were telling me that I was going to be doing some specific role or something, and I was like, "Really?" Of course, we end up being prepared for whatever is put in front of us
like
anyway.
sometimes I get invited to like meetings last minute, and they're like, "Hey, would you want to come on this meeting?" And it's like in the middle of the night, and I'm like, "Okay, let me slap some eyeliner on." But I only do that if the Federation says it's important, and when they say it's important, I have they say jump, I jump. And it's because there's certain people in those meetings that are supposed to see and hear me, so we can make connections and help the world, help the organization. So it's like, okay, there's someone important in there. You need to be in there. And if it's not important, they're like, you can go if you want. It's okay. It's kind of like a feeling that I get. Also, I want to mention some other stuff that we advocate for through the United Experiencers Initiative. I'm going to go down a list here. Speaking of feeling called to do things, I need to read this off. So we advocate for, and we're going to be pushing for this once we create the 501c4 department, separate organization. So like the UEI Action Incorporated or whatever, but it'll be further down the road. But right now we just advocate for this. So we advocate for ways to improve mental, spiritual, and physical health. No more homelessness, liberating people from poverty. No more war, world peace, free healthcare, free education, free housing, replacing prisons with rehabilitation centers. And I know that's a long, really bold, big list, but that's things that humanity needs and they should have had from the very beginning. And those types of things are going to free us from this control system, from this terrible stuff that's going on this planet, and take us to a whole nother vibration. So.
Yeah, I think that all of those things are in line with the Alliance as well, the Alliance for Extraterrestrial Diplomatic Contact that Jen and I work with. I think, those are certainly in alignment with that. And of course, universal love is also in alignment with everything that Jen and I do. And so we can certainly relate to all of that in that way.
Yes. Everything is consciousness.
All important. I mean, when we think about, what I'm brought to as you're sharing that is how society was in that, in that lifetime that I wrote about. And we talk about the difference in the way that things are handled and all. And it's such a beautiful world to be able to be in, where we don't punish, and we do hold place for people, and we hold space, and we have that restorative energy around things, as opposed to the penalizing energy. And we learned from the dragons and what they did to the reptilians in terms of what not to do, for these like ancient wise beings. They went, it's not good, it's not bad, and that's great, but it really sucked for an entire galaxy. So,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
we're still dealing with that energy.
Yeah.
So I think it is a beautiful thing to be able to hold space for what is possible, because as much as it's like this, yes, it's this huge list, but it's not impossible,
That's right.
right?
It's
If
not
enough of
impossible.
us were on board, it would very well be possible.
That's
Yep.
right. And I'm always asking them, and I'm like, why me? Right? Why me? Anybody would ask that in my position probably. And they say somebody's got to do it.
Mhm.
Somebody's got to start it, at least start the movement and be the voice. And then they start giving me visions of all these other people in history, and I'm like, okay, quit, stop.
Yeah, sometimes it can feel a little intimidating. Our
Yeah.
work with the Federation, it can feel a little bit like
You got a lot on your shoulders. You need to do a good job.
Yeah. But they're always there to support, which
Absolutely.
is what's amazing.
Absolutely, the whole way, all the way through.
I think that's the beauty, though, of being able to be the tool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that part of it, because again, I think Tanys and I both, like, we're just sitting here in our basement, like, what is it exactly that, and it's not, it's not that there's like any great anything. It's just you're willing to listen. You're willing to be a tool and to be used. And so, why us? Why any of us? If we have that willingness, we're going to be used in some
Absolutely.
way to be able to change things in our families, our neighborhoods, and whatever reach they give us.
That's right, because we chose this before we came here. We were like, okay, I want to help humanity, and we were given these vessels. It's a whole other topic with alien DNA, but they designed these vessels for us to be able to do our job more properly. And sometimes, most of the time, we don't realize that first off.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes we do know. We'd have a lot of past life memories when we're really young. I remember I've had a lot of my past life memories when I was young. I remember Egypt, and it's always stuck with me. I always made pyramids out of sand, Legos, cardboard, anything I can get a hold of. I've always made pyramids my whole life. And, I realize now that I used to be I forgot the title, but it was like someone who logged information down, astrological information for one of the priestess or something like that. But I remember I went into that, and I remember more of that. And I love that those times. It was so simple back then, and just the skies were so beautiful. Oh my gosh. So I've lived a lot of different past lives. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother whole book of stuff that I might write one day.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible when that information comes through, and to notice what comes through and why it comes through. Like, we've talked about that in terms of past lives on the show, because we've all had, a lot of us have had a lot of past lives, but we don't remember all of them. But we come here, as you said, like the DNA, we come with very specific ones that are markered for us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then it starts to unfold, and we begin to remember, and it's not, some random thing. It really is like, oh, this is here because of this, or this is here to help me heal that, so that I can do this.
Absolutely.
Right? There's purpose behind each and every one of them.
There's one past life that I normally don't talk about a lot, but anybody that follows me pretty closely has probably heard about it. But so there was this one past life that the Federation wanted me to remember, and I was in denial for the longest time, and I was like, no, it can't be. And then one day I finally took a bite, and I started looking into like documentaries and reenactments and stuff, and it was Joan of Arc. And I was like, when I started watching the reenactments and the history shows and all that, it was just like, it just hit me in the chest, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I just started having whole body reactions. I started having visions and remembering the war, the 100-Year War, and I remember a lot of stuff. And the reason that you wanted me to remember that, though, is that it reignited that fire in my heart, and I understood forgiveness more.
Yeah.
And I relearned that forgiveness that I'd learned in that life, and I forgave them for burning me alive. I forgave them. I got myself caught. I didn't know when to stop. I wanted Paris. So I know that's something that I still have to learn, is like know when to stop, when to
Right.
let it go. But I'm still working on that. I
think
just,
we all
when I
have
get
that
hyped
stuff.
up, I just
Yeah.
can't stop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I carry that fire in my heart once more. And it's just a different setting. You know, we're not in a physical war this time. We're in an emotional, spiritual battle, and we're
Yeah.
changing the tides. And I'm right there in the front line. So
We're with you, girl.
thank you. I appreciate you. Appreciate both of you so much for everything that you do, and even the stuff that doesn't get seen or known about, because there's a lot of stuff that we do that people don't hear about as well.
Absolutely.
So we're all going to get our shiny spaceships in the end. And then we're going to go and celebrate on another planet for a while. We'll come back and visit, but you know, I'm going to go on an expedition for like 500 years and explore life. Everything out there is going to be amazing. So
I have one particular place I want to go.
oh yeah,
In particular, yes. On Alcyon.
Oh, Alcyon.
Mm-hmm. There's a spot there right near where I grew up in that lifetime, and I just when it's almost a happy place. Like I'll go there when I'm needing support, and so I want to go there. That's where I'm headed.
I'd like to go to Paris, or not Paris, but France, to my old home in that life. It's still there. I think that would be cool to like see if it would bring back any memories or anything. Not that I have a problem with that, but I just thought it would be interesting to visit that place. How much more time do we have?
We're actually over a few minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there something that you wanted to add? Or?
Just one more thing. I wanted to clarify. I know we talked a little bit about DNA and star seeds and stuff, but I know a lot of people are really confused on how that's connected. So I was given all the knowledge about how all that's connected, and I always share it. So there are 3 different types of hybrids in this particular hybrid project that I'm about to speak about. And type 1 is about 95% of the population, which has a small amount of alien DNA. So by default, everyone has alien DNA in their blood from alterations a long time ago. And then there's type 2. They have, which is the other 5%. Type 2 hybrids have more alien DNA than the type 1 category. And we got that DNA through 4 generations of DNA insertions from the Federation. And the reason we have that DNA is because our souls, as starseed souls, so higher dimensional souls that want to help civilization, we need particular kinds of bodies to be able to remember past lives, to be able to channel stuff better, get upgrades, be more psychic, all that good stuff. So a lot of the times it makes us autistic, nonverbal autistic, highly functioning autistic, ADD, ADHD, all that stuff. There's a whole list of stuff, but the biggest thing is feeling like we're from somewhere else and we want to help the planet. Like we want to help humanity somehow, but sometimes we don't know what that is, and we have that, and sometimes it makes us anxious. Sometimes we fall off the wagon and we forget our jobs, and sometimes it happens. But regardless, we are beings like everyone else. No matter how much alien DNA we have, humans are also capable of everything that we're capable of, and that's what we're here to teach humanity, is that they have the keys in their heart and their own DNA to unlock the beautiful consciousness inside of them, to be able to help themselves and love the planet and heal the planet and all this good stuff. So we're here to help humanity help themselves. So we're like the back door and the ground soldiers doing the work from the inside without breaking any rules, like the galactic rules. It's like a loophole. But and then
support, not save.
Yep. That's right. And then
Mhm.
there's, the last one is type 3 hybrids. A lot of people like us have hybrid children. I have 10 hybrid children, and I know that's a big statement, especially for people who haven't heard that before, but a lot of us, abductees, contactees, type 2 hybrids, starseeds, whatever terminology you want to use, have
Yeah.
hybrid children. I have 10. I've met one in my room standing right here in this spot. And her name is Nova. She's so sweet. She's probably around 16 to 17 now. She was 9 2 years ago. They grow up really fast. But the reason that they exist, they take our DNA, type 2 hybrid DNA, and they combine it with ETs aboard the ship to create type 3 hybrids. And they're very telepathic. They're very smart. They grow up fast, but their age levels out around 25 to 30 years old. And eventually they'll come down to humanity once open contact has been made, and they'll teach humanity the rest of the education, the further education that we're teaching, to help humanity become a productive member in the galactic community. So
Jen and I both have hybrid children as well.
Nice. Probably all out there working together.
Yeah, I suspect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they've probably gone to the Celestial Academy and all that stuff together.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're all friends. They've been hanging out. Well, I can't wait to see them.
Yeah, me too.
See them
I
again.
miss my daughter a lot.
Yeah.
I know I have more than one, but I've only met one so far. So
I did a regression and I met a bunch of the other ones, but usually when there's another one on the way, they'll come and tell me. They'll give me a vision in a dream or something, and they'll show me. It's usually the Pleiadian hybrid. It's like a Pleiadian mixed with a gray, and she's like, they carry the babies for me because I can't carry the babies, but it's like a surrogate mother thing. But yeah, they showed me, and I was like, okay, cool, I got another one on the way. So far, I think no one else is pregnant up there. So.
Yeah. I think we could go off on so many different conversations, and they could be entire shows unto themselves.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a great show tonight, and I'd love to come back in the future. And we can talk about more amazing things and past lives and remote viewing and all kinds of other psychic abilities. And we can open up so many doors, as you said. People will need to know about this stuff, and they're slowly understanding. But, you know, everyone is at their own level, at their own pace of development as well. So we have to be patient with everyone.
Exactly.
Well, and that's really fitting. So at the end of each show, we do a bit of home play. So I pull a card from Seeds from the Sacred Feminine.
Nice.
And that ability to just know that we're all on different places, and that's okay. I got Embrace a New Idea.
Ain't that something?
So I'll read this one to you, but it says, embrace a new idea. You came to experience your earthwalk in a linear way, but today, grandchild, you need to be reminded of the non-linear nature of order and order of creation. The sacred feminine path lies in the mystery and in circular nature. Like the womb of creation, it is ever expanding. This can be very difficult for your human mind to understand. The five senses can convince you that you live only in the physical world. This is not true. The information gathered by your physical body makes it easy to forget the existence and wisdom of your spirit. The emotional and spiritual part of you knows the invisible realm of the sacred feminine, even if it can't hear it, see it, or smell it. Remember that your mind is of the Creator's mind. It is capable of embracing anything and everything ever conceived. You are wise and more than capable of grasping new ideas. Let go, feel, and intuit the next step. See what happens if you release control and fall into the arms of the great mystery. When you allow yourself to trust in the sacred feminine, you will discover a whole new way of being.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That's so fitting. That is so fitting.
Thank you so much, Dragon. Have a good night.
Wow.
And thank you for sharing your story. I know we didn't get to it, but thank you so much for sharing that experience with us.
Beautiful. Yeah. So, do you have any events coming up, Natalie? Because I think I saw something.
Yes, I do actually. We have a Zoom launch event for the UEI. It's like the public full launch. We're going full force into the public on July 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can sign up on the website at theuei.org, theuei.org.
Yeah,
and
it's down on the screen. Yes, Jen,
yep,
thank you.
there's a sign up
there.
link at the top of the website. It'll say July 11th. You just go to the website, click the link at the top, and then you'll find the Zoom link within that page, and you can sign up there. And it's going to be amazing. Right now, we have Grant Cameron as a guest confirmed, maybe a co-host. We don't know yet. I'm still trying to clarify that. But we're going to have some other amazing speakers. I'm going to be sending out a lot of emails asking people, but there's a lot of people interested. So it's going to be an amazing show, but hopefully this time it'll be 2 hours instead of 4 hours. The pre-launch was 4 hours, so we're going to cut it down a little bit. We got excited and we just kept going and going, but it was like the first time that experiencers got together in that much momentum and energy. So this shows you that we have a lot to share and that we're ready to share. Absolutely. So anyway, we hope to see you there. It's going to be amazing. And we're going to keep doing amazing things for experiencers and for the world at large to usher in a new age of humanity. So if you want to be a part of that, be an active member, or just participate in the show, just check out the website. And thank you so much for having me today.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
Jen, what have you got going on this week?
Oh, you ask me things I don't know.
I know. I think we have a fairly quiet week from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, so I did the update. I put it out last night for the energy for the week. So that is up on YouTube and Facebook, and I think Instagram. Still, tech is what it is. And then I've got the Mystic Monday, which is ready, and I'm going to post that shortly. And remember, there's also the dailies that you can see on Facebook and Instagram. But as far as shows go, I don't have any other shows coming up this week. So this is it for this week.
Yeah, it's a quieter
That's
week.
right. You two were also on the pre-launch as well.
That's right.
I knew
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys participating in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fun.
Sorry, my mind is...
Okay.
I actually shared the poem that I shared on the pre-launch on here, and it's posted on the blog.
Oh my God, I love that.
When I go back and see it on my holistic self on my blog, so you can read it there.
That really touched my heart, and yeah, that was amazing, just absolutely amazing. And I'd love to have you on the launch again as well if you want to share that poem again.
I would.
That
love
was just
to.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. All right, we'll put you on the list. I'll send you the email.
Perfect.
All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us today for Twillow Talk.
Mm-hmm.
And we shall see you all soon next week. We'll be back again, of course, as we always are. And we'll see you then. Have an awesome week, everyone. Take care.
Namaste.